Chapter 4 is about business ethics and social responsibility, doing well by doing good. Section 1 is titled Ethics and Social Responsibility, a Close Relationship. And ethics is related to individuals and their day-to-day decision making. Each individual's decision is going to affect the entire organization. Not all actions have ethical implications. Some decisions are going to fall within the realm of free choice and no direct link to right and wrong, good and bad. So here is the legal ethical matrix, and as you can see, it gives you examples of legal and unethical and legal and ethical. And individual businesses, they should aim to carry out actions that are not only legal but also ethical. An example of legal and unethical: producing products that you know will break before their time. This is legal, but it's not right. It's unethical. And then here's some examples of legal and ethical. And just remember, when we're talking about ethics, just because it's legal does not mean it's ethical. And here are the examples here in that column. And then here are illegal and unethical. For example, embezzling money. Of course that's unethical, but it's also illegal. But you can also have things that are legal and that are illegal and ethical. So they are related, but they can be, you can have any of these situations. But remember, as I said, just because it's legal doesn't mean that it's ethical. It's the right thing to do. And for many people, ethical standards are different in different situations. So we do need some type of universal ethical standards. Here are some ethical norms that apply to all people: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship. So this nonprofit group called Character Counts, they came up with these 6 core values, and these will transcend political, religious, class, and ethnic divisions. This is a universal ethical standard and the core values of that. Many people think of business ethics as an oxymoron, or they don't seem to go together, the word business and the word ethics, but they must go together. We need to understand that if we're going to do business, we may encounter some difficult decisions, and we need to understand the nature of a decision, and there are consequences for each decision that is made. So we're going to talk about business ethics, and it's the application of right and wrong, good and bad in a business setting. And sometimes you'll get into what's called an ethical dilemma, and this is where a decision that involves a conflict of values. And I can give you a few examples of ethical dilemmas for you to think about. What if you see your friend's girlfriend or boyfriend on a date with someone else? What would you do? What if you were working as a recruiter in a company and they come across an eligible candidate who is pregnant and will definitely need to take a maternity leave within a month of joining? This is another example of an ethical dilemma. And I'm sure you can come up with even more examples. And then if you look at this polling activity, it says, which of the following situations do you see as most ethical? Okay, look at the first one. You know a team member is moving in a month and leaving the company. You allow her to do a significant amount of the team's work on a client's project before she leaves, and then take credit for the project results after she leaves. So in this situation, giving credit to an employee who's no longer working at that organization may not be beneficial to her, but taking credit for someone else's work runs the risk of someone discovering the truth, with the results of diminished credibility on your part. Let's look at B, and we'll just move on. You were a day late getting a project done before you procrastinated, but you tell your overly demanding manager that you didn't get necessary information on time. So you may think this is just a white lie and it's harmless, but what if the manager discovers you weren't exactly truthful? Then you've damaged your credibility. And you may think you also may risk the manager being disapproving of you if you do tell the truth, which would make your work situation even more difficult. So here that you have a really ethical dilemma. The white lie, if you lie and say you didn't get the information, or you tell the manager that you just procrastinated. Either way, the manager's not going to be happy. Although each person must make their own ethical choice, the organization can have a huge impact on the quality of those decisions. So the interaction between the employee's ethical choices and the organization's ethical choices is so closely related that sometimes it's hard to tell where one stops and where the other begins. So ethical in the individual, the power of one, okay, what they're influenced by. A recent study shows that business leaders who score high on personal empathy exhibit high levels of ethical leadership by them showing empathy. Organizations do influence the ethical conduct of employees. This is important to think about because tone at the top is what I call it. The manager, the leaders set the tone at the top, and that's what the employees normally follow. And when I said that, I didn't realize we're going to talk about that on this slide, the tone at the top. It has to be reinforced by the actual behavior. Okay, that behavior of management. It's not just what you say, it's what you do. And this is observed by your suppliers, the dealers, the customers, and of course your employees. And I found a fact that was interesting. It said that researchers that observe the rate of misconduct, it increases noticeably in organizations during times of significant change. So the misconduct increases when there's a lot of change going on. So think about COVID, and some speculate that caused a high level of misconduct. That was definitely a period of significant change. So a code of ethics is a written document that defines the ethical standards of an organization. So it gives the employees information they need to make ethical decisions. An ethics code becomes even more important if it's a multinational company because it's going to lay out unifying values and priorities for divisions that are rooted in different culture. Also, though, just a note, a written code doesn't mean anything if it doesn't reflect living principles. So each company should have a code of ethics. So here are the steps for implementing a code of ethics. And I know some of you have said that you wanted or you already have your own business. Well, I would definitely suggest, if you don't have a code of ethics, that you make one for your business and get executive buy-in and commitment to follow through. We don't just want it on a piece of paper. We want to actually be using it as a guide. Establish expectations for ethical behavior at all levels. Integrate ethics into mandatory staff training. Make sure the employees are trained on it and know what to do in certain situations. Ensure that the ethics code is global and local in scope. Build and maintain a clear, trusted reporting structure for ethical concerns and violations. So if it happens, how do we report it? What do we do? What is the process? Establish protection for whistleblowers. So this is important, that if a person does report it, that they won't risk something happening to them or them being punished for reporting it. It's important to ensure that no retaliation occurs. Of course, number 7, enforce the code of ethics. It will be successful or more successful when these steps are followed.